You know the feeling. You're standing there nodding, but your mind has already left the room. You're trapped in a conversational monologue where the other person isn't speaking with you. They are speaking at you. You feel your energy draining, your presence shrinking, and a growing sense of frustration because your voice has been rendered invisible. It's a subtle form of social erasure, and most of us simply endure it because we don't want to seem rude. But there is a profound difference between being polite and being a doormat. When you allow someone to dominate the space, you aren't just losing a conversation, you are losing your agency. If you want to stop being a spectator in your own life, you need to understand that silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's an invitation for others to walk over you. Here is the first thing you need to realize. The most powerful person in a room isn't the one talking the most. It's the one who controls the flow. If you find yourself stuck, try the name pause proceed technique. Simply say their name, clearly and with a slight upward inflection. Then pause for exactly 1 second. This micro break interrupts their momentum without a verbal collision. Once they stop, immediately offer one concise sentence to reclaim the floor. It's small, it's surgical, and it works because it breaks their rhythm without a fight. To truly master these moments, we have to look at the psychological framework of the conversational narcissist. Most people who dominate conversations aren't necessarily bad people. They are often driven by high levels of social anxiety or a deep-seated need for external validation. In their minds, silence is a vacuum that must be filled. They view a conversation as a performance, not an exchange. When you realize that their talking is a defense mechanism rather than a position of strength, the power dynamic shifts. You no longer feel like a victim of their words. You see yourself as the regulator of the environment. You are moving from a state of reaction to a state of calibration. Here are the 7 methods to reclaim your voice and handle anyone who tries to dominate the conversation. First, you must employ the tactical interruption. Most of us wait for a gap to speak, but a dominator doesn't leave gaps. If you wait for permission, you will never get it. The key here is to use nonverbal precursors. Before you speak, lean in slightly, raise your hand just an inch or two, or open your mouth as if you're about to breathe in. These are biological signals that tell the other person's brain a turn-taking shift is coming. If they continue to steamroll, you use a soft start phrase like, "I'm going to stop you there because that's a crucial point." By framing your interruption as an interest in their specific point, you bypass their ego and regain the floor simultaneously. Second, use the mirroring pivot. This is for the person who tells long, rambling stories that seem to have no end. Instead of just nodding, wait for them to take a breath and repeat the last 3 or 4 words they said, but follow it immediately with a question that steers the topic back to a shared reality. For example, if they are rambling about their promotion, you say, "So you got the senior role? How does that change the way our team will collaborate on this project?" You are acknowledging their reality, but immediately tethering it back to a mutual space. This forces them to stop the performance and enter a dialogue. But here's what most people get wrong. They think that to stop a talker, you have to be louder than them. This is a mistake. This is where we look at the third method, the power of the low volume. When someone is talking over you or increasing their volume to drown you out, the most effective response is actually to lower your voice. When you speak slightly quieter and slower, it forces a dominator to lean in and focus. It signals high status and total composure. It creates a psychological hush in the environment. They have to stop their noise just to hear your signal. This is the difference between a dog barking for attention and a lion who doesn't need to roar to be noticed. The fourth method is the group inclusion. Often, a dominator will isolate one person in a group setting. If you are that person, you can break their spell by physically and verbally bringing others into the conversation. Say something like, "That's an interesting take. I'm curious if Sarah sees it the same way." Or, "I think Mark has some experience with this too." By distributing the conversational weight, you dilute the dominator's power. You aren't just reclaiming your voice, you are acting as the conductor of the group. This is where people lose control. They try to fight the dominator one-on-one. Don't fight them. Outmaneuver them by making the conversation too large for them to own. This next one is what actually changes everything. The boundary statement. Sometimes subtle tactics aren't enough. There are individuals who are high dominance and will interpret your politeness as weakness. In these cases, you must be direct, but not aggressive. You say, "I'd love to hear the rest of that, but I want to finish the thought I started so we're on the same page." This isn't an insult, it's a boundary. It communicates that your time and your thoughts have a specific value. Psychology tells us that people actually respect those who set clear boundaries more than those who are perpetually nice. You are teaching them how to treat you in real time. 6, we have the reflective check-in. This is a sophisticated tool for when someone is repeating themselves or circling the same topic. You stop them and say, "It sounds like the main thing you want me to understand is in X. Is that right?" Once they say yes, the psychological loop in their brain is closed. Often people dominate conversations because they don't feel heard. By summarizing their point and getting that yes, you satisfy their need for validation, which often causes them to naturally settle down and listen to what you have to say next. It is the quickest way to move from output mode to reception mode. Finally, the 7th method is the exit with dignity. This is the most important realization of all. Not every conversation is worth saving. Some people do not want a dialogue. They want an audience. If you have tried to pivot, tried to include others, and tried to set boundaries, and they still refuse to yield the floor, you must realize that your presence is a gift that they are currently devaluing. At this point, the most powerful thing you can say is, "I've got to head out, get back to work, but it was interesting hearing your perspective." You don't need an excuse. You don't need a lie. You simply choose to spend your currency of attention elsewhere. This is where we move beyond mere tactics and into the realm of internal mastery. Why does it feel so hard to interrupt someone? It's because we've been socialized to believe that taking up space is an act of aggression. We fear the awkwardness of a social collision. But realize this: the person dominating the conversation has already created the awkwardness. They have already broken the social contract of reciprocity. By stepping in and reclaiming the floor, you aren't being the bad guy, you are restoring balance. You are practicing the discipline of self-respect. The way you communicate is the way you tell the world who you are. If you allow yourself to be drowned out, you are signaling that your perspective is secondary. But when you learn to navigate these high dominance personalities with calm authority, you develop a form of social intelligence that is rare and highly respected. You become the person who can handle the unhandleable. You become a person of weight. As you go through your week, pay attention to the space in your conversations. Notice who is taking it and who is giving it away. If you find yourself being pushed to the margins, don't get angry. Get curious. Use one of these tools. Start with the name, pause, proceed, and watch how the energy in the room shifts toward you. Mastering your voice is not about ego, it is about stewardship. You have a responsibility to the ideas and insights you carry. If you don't speak them, they don't exist in the world. If this perspective on social dynamics and psychological mastery resonates with you, I invite you to reflect on one thing. What is one conversation you've been avoiding, or one person you've been letting dominate you? Perhaps today is the day you decide that your voice is worth hearing. If you value these deep dives into human behavior and the mechanics of influence, consider joining us for more. But for now, take these tools, use them with grace, and remember that you are not a spectator. You are the conductor. Thank you for your time.